Test, test, test. Nice. How you doing? Going well, kitty? Well, cat? How are you? Well, kitty? Alright, that's good. I'm not gonna use a pillow tonight. Don't need it. I don't wanna. I'm too lazy. Ouch. One sec. Ah. No, sweetie. That's not. No, I see you. I see you pretty well. Alright, a couple small things I need to do real quick before I forget. Tampa's 10-0, so awesome sauce. Miami is getting their ass handed to him, that's even better. Athena, please stop, sweetie. There, we'll leave that there. Let's go... Game, I think I got this right. Nope, a little bit too high. Some days you guess right, some days you don't. Properties. Figure video. Camera control, focus off, applies. Okay. Nice. Okay, so we actually have some height. Cool. And we gotta wait a little while for... Yeah, we're gonna do this issue again. Yeah, so I don't know what's going on. That's fine. But it's just 2 nights in a row we're doing this. What the hell's going on? Hey Trendy, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Alright, I'm actually curious what's going on with Dead by Daylight on console. Alright, so that goes there. That goes here. Get a beer tonight. Chills. Chills. Cheers. Cheers. Let's take it so... Confused why it's doing this though. May not save a game properly. Starting a game maybe solve the problem. We keep doing this. Garbage. What's up with it? Close. There's no updates. Let's try this real quick. That way I don't accidentally show my network. Connection status. View connection status on ba-da-ba-ba. Oh, that is fine. Settings. That's good. Test internet connection. While it does that... No network connection error, Dead by Daylight. The first thing you do is check and see if Dead by Daylight is doing server maintenance. Well, they're not doing server maintenance 2 days in a row. So everything is fine. Wired is correct. That is very weird. So everything else is showing just fine. only thing I could do is maybe switch to DNS on a console. But I don't know what are the steps to do that though. Oh, there it is. Active connection, options, advanced settings, DNS, manual, enter custom DNS IP. I mean, that could work. I mean, we're actually into the game this time, so that's good. That's Slinger. Dope. Hook the obsession 12 times. We can do this one. I'll keep this here off to the side just in case something doesn't go well with it. Because if we get the error again, we'll just go into DNS and change it real quick. A little bit of a juicy team. Nice. Alright, so we'll start a game with Skull Merchant. And if all goes well, we'll go ahead and switch around to the different killers and have a little bit of fun with it. I am thinking of a couple little small challenge runs I want to do with Dead by Daylight. Mostly some kind of fun little pain in the ass restriction. Like I would love to find a Pokeball Plus, or find my old one, because it only has one button and one walking stick. I think it'd be fun to do like Ghost Face or something like that, and basically just get a 4K using only one button and analog stick kind of thing. And then add in the latency issue from going from a custom controller to PS5 and all that. I think it'd be fun. We have no network issues so far. Alright, so he's not AFK'd. Fuck. I gambled. It didn't pay off. Alright, so they're all gonna flock together. Interesting. Go off this way, because we see her wanting to do flashlight saves. So we'll try to put a pressure on her. She's going to drop the pallet. No, she's not. Okay, interesting. Ballsy. I respect it. Flashlight check. Flashlight check failed. Two for flinching. Now I get to see how fast any of them have medkits, if anything at all. Maybe a boon totem. That's a good trade-off, thank you. Damn. That Weeble Wobble. Weeble Wobble game too strong. 1-2. That's one gen, that's fine. Abandon this one quickly, odd. Nothing's activating up. There's one right here. Does he spin? No, not really, but I overspun myself. I was anticipating him to spin, and he didn't spin. What? What? Too slow. Take that one off, because I don't need it there. So with Skull Merchant, you sort of have to micromanage your drones. When she first came out, you really didn't have to, but you sort of have to now in order to get the most use out of them. I'm gonna take the hook left, it doesn't matter, she pretty much gave up. Pop that up, force her to make a mistake. Throw one over here. There, now we see where everyone is if they get near us real quick. And they're not, so that's fine. We know they're going to stay on this side of the map. We see red marks over there. Let's see, does he want to play that game with us or no? And they're going for save in 2 seconds, and there's that. GG's. We'll throw one over here, see if we force something. We'll act like we don't know where she is. I was hoping she was going to go for Power Bolt. See if we can get him to throw that pellet. There we go, thank you. We have 2 annoying pallets left I want to get rid of. If we can. Get some extra little kicking points in, why not? We have one that's readily available. And that is David. David could take a nice juicy claw up the butt if we're lucky. And he wasn't paying attention to the rules of the killer. So up you go. Yeah, she didn't go the way I wanted. He doesn't understand it. That's a little bit weird. My tunnel vision. Oof. One's over there, we'll let him go for the save. Nice. I think she disconnected. Her or the person on the generator disconnected. Yeah, so they abused a bug with the Mori. And if we figure out who it is, we could actually report them and probably get their account banned. Because that is a glitch abuse. And I'm willing to bet, because only 2 prominent streamers have shown it off, I could probably relatively bet with a safe bet who it was. In terms of who they follow to abuse it. Which again shows that the whole Fog Whisper program thingy is a little bit interesting. Since it promotes these bugs. Yeah, so you can't really talk about it out. You just have to guess. Yeah. It's a shame. So what happened was somebody got moored yesterday that is a Fog Whisperer. And sadly, it looks like one of his followers or viewers took notes and decided to make this a well-known thing. So fun. So much fun. So instead of being able to play the game, we sort of, you know, can't use our power, can't interact with the UI, can't see anything. So fun. So much fun. Really, all he had to do is not explain how the bug worked. If he wouldn't have explained how the bug worked, I don't think anybody would have done it. But because he went into such great details on their stream about how this bug works, survivors are just abusing the fuck out of it now. But it's all about those clicks and all those views. The purple tag life. Gotta get them people to click. They don't get clicked, you don't get to pay. Sadly, it just means that the health of the game gets affected. Shame, shame, shame. Yeah. We probably could have easily got a 4K on that one, but it is what it is. People got to abuse glitches and bugs. Not even going to show their name. But chances are we'll probably see it in that person's stream later when they go into the chat and brag about abusing it. Doot 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 doot. Alright, so since everyone knows how to abuse that bug with survivors, we'll just take that offering off. Hey Jelly, how are you? Hope you and Miss Tippy are doing well. Run through some of the sacrificial offerings, I guess. Home from work? Nice. I hope work went well. I hope that work went well for you, man. Of course we get that issue again. Fun. Alright, so let me try something real quick. Since we're still having issues with that, let's try this little fix. Sadly, I can't do this on stream since I have to show network settings. Let's try this little fix real quick. Settings, network, settings. Advanced settings. Hopping on Conan? Nice. DNS settings. Manual. That's good. Secondary. .4. Nice. Okay, connecting to the network. After this is done, I'll bring it back up, but I want to make damn sure that I don't accidentally show anything I shouldn't. But yeah. So we almost have everything taken care of. I only need to get, I think it's another 150 bucks. And I have Athena's bill taken care of, which I'm happy about. So once that's done, I can start saving up and we start doing other fun stuff. So we're actually getting a lot done progress-wise on that. Next month is Zelda, I think, so we should do that. And then June is Diablo, which I'm actually really looking forward to. He went elephant hunting yesterday and stole 4 baby elephants and 4 tiger cubs. Okay. Alright, let's try this again. Only other thing I could think of to try. And I don't think it would matter to toggle LAN off for wireless. We're getting 10 meg up on console, which isn't bad. Not great, but should be more than fine for what we're doing. I don't know why it keeps network error getting out. That's driving me crazy. Let's see, there is a forum post on behavior. So apparently this has been an issue on behavior's end since 6.5.2 on February 9th. That's a little embarrassing for them. Wow, wow, wow. Alright. I wonder if this has anything to do with Meter Maker. Like if they're just sharing the same physical hardware. I'm doing okay. Like I said, a little bit stressed out financially, but I'm fine. Doing pretty good health-wise, so I'm actually happy about that. Thinny Cat's doing good, I think. Yeah. So. She's in a chair behind me asleep. That's fine. Yeah, well, later. Yeah, so what I've been doing with that group is a different approach, because I noticed that a lot of people don't have Ascended stuff. And they didn't say anything, which is cool, it's fine. You don't need Ascended to do raiding, but, you know, with the group, we're sort of dancing on that razor's edge, that if Monkey dies early, we're sort of fucked. So I figured, well, I'll do some fractals on weeks we don't raid, so we get some people some Ascended stuff, so maybe that little teeny tiny razor's edge will be a little bit thicker of a line to walk. And then they could get the stat infusions they need and try to juice their stats out a bit. Yeah. Sort of weird that you can't give shards or relics or any of that kind of stuff. But we got LTK, a Ascended weapon, so that'll help him out, even though he's always in the top 2 or 3 DPS-wise. We also got him a stat infusion, so that boosts his damage drastically. There we go. I was trying to figure out why the music wasn't playing. But yeah, hopefully that'll work out. The only thing I want to do in Guild Wars 2 these days, that's just going to take time to do it. So I want to get legendary heavy armor. Because there's a couple... What are you doing, my man? A couple small things I want to do, such as a DPS build and a passive healing build for a Revenant. Plus, I sort of miss playing Guild Wars 1. But there's nothing for me to do in Guild Wars 1 anymore, so this will give me that option. But yeah, how has work gone for you? Been blockaded off, nice. Hammering the gens, that's not good. Nothing but tiring. Hopefully it started to calm down, man. Is the computer project thingy you were working on doing good? So I know you went from the Steam Deck to the mini computer or something like that? Like everywhere? Nice. Apparently there's rumors that PlayStation is going to remake the Vita. But apparently it's supposed to be like the same specs as the PS5, I guess. So if you have a PS5, you can just get the little Vita 2.0 or whatever and have it handled, which would be cool. Because then you don't have to double dip on games. Which, quite frankly, if they do that, that might be something I would be more enticed into. Since I have everything I'd like to play on PS5 anyways. Ah, he's gonna drop it. It is. There's really not that many strong options outside of the Steam Deck and the Switch. I mean, there's a lot of options, but like not a lot of strong options, you know? Like ones that you can go to Best Buy or a easy website to find and figure out. Smack Alice. Yeah, affordability is the other big one, is that for handheld, you don't want people... You're not gonna have that many people that want to drop like $1,000 or $2,000. Like 400, 500 bucks is pretty much your cap for a handheld. Hey, Suicide Run, how you doing, man? We had our first major bug abuse today, Suicide Run. We had somebody decide to be cute to abuse a bug that a partner / whisperer made famous yesterday. In this game. And it, when done, makes it so the killer can't really play the game outside of M1. Because you don't have a HUD. You can't see your abilities. You can't activate your abilities. You're at the mercy of only swinging. So you can't see gen count. You can't see anything. Everything is hidden. And it's a very annoying, obnoxious bug. No, I know what happened because I was on the stream when it happened. It wasn't intentional on his part. He wasn't intentionally trying to tell everyone that, hey, this bug exists. It sort of happened to him. But the problem is, and this is sort of a, if you stream, you sort of get it because you're guilty of it at times to time. Instead of just, you know, like hiding it and just moving on, he drew a fuck ton of attention to it and then explained how it happened on stream in front of everyone. So now everybody is replicating it. So if you would have been like, oh, that's a weird bug, let me report it. No big deal. Instead, he went into painful detail about how the bug occurs and how to replicate it. And because he went into detail on how it works and how to replicate it, survivors are just abusing the fuck out of it to get a little bit easier matches and to be obnoxious and annoying as possible. Yeah, that was on me. Swing and miss. Got your PS5, but something strange happened the day I got it. The money Amazon took is back in my bank account. I would wait a week before you even spend a penny of that. And make sure that Amazon didn't goof. As in, like, put it pending and then it released it pending. And then the actual charge will actually happen a week later. I would wait. Yeah, I'll call them too just to make damn sure. Especially with that much money. If it was something like 10, 20 bucks, I'd be like, you know what, fuck it. Let's start fuck up. Go for it, but a few hundred bucks, I would make damn sure that that money is good and clean and not a accidental reject pending code or something. Now, to be fair, I did have a few things on Amazon that I've ordered in the past that would get refunded, and I ended up keeping the product and the money. So it's not uncommon for Amazon to make derps and you be able to benefit off it. The one thing I would do, if you haven't done so already, because there was a scam when a console came out, is I would go ahead and I would register your PS5 to your account ASAP. Like, go on Sony's website, get everything all set up on it, just in case somebody tries to be a dick and do the whole stolen device thing. providing you didn't buy it from Sony directly. If you bought it from Sony directly, then you're safe and fine, but if you bought it from, like, I don't know, Joe Schmo, who sold it for roughly the same price or 25 bucks less, then I would go ahead and pre-register it on Sony. So that way if somebody does try to scam you, you're not TSOL. If anything, they're TSOL. Me too, I'm jealous. For that couple that got about 3 pounds of flowers. Yeah. You need that benefit. We should be all good and everything no matter what. I don't even think that scam has even been a thing for a year or two. But just to be safe, it might be worth doing. Have you been able to boot up the PS5 and play it and have some fun with it yet, or no? And if so, how have you liked it? Let's go with... maybe Huntress? Still boxed up? Open it up, man. Play with it. Amazon can't take the package back. It's yours. There is no oopsie-daisy kind of thing to where it's one of those, oh, well, you know, you should send us the package back. It's yours. Even Amazon said so. Loadouts. We can't do Mori's. Let's go with... basically just boot up the PS5 and log into it. So if you have a Sony account, you just log into it and you should be good to go. That's fine. Not the direct one, this is the actual product registry, but you could just be able to pop in your console, sign in, and it should do the rest. But if you want to manually do it, that's the actual link to manually do it. God, how much I like beer. I like beer. Beer, 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 beer. Yeah. But if you want to be extra safe, you could always, after a week, contact and be like, yo, Just want to make sure everything's all good. Gotcha. Alright, so she doesn't know how to play dodgeball. You could dodge an axe, you could dodge a ball. She couldn't dodge either. Up you go. She couldn't dodge a ball either. Yep. Yep. These are not dodgeball champions. Up you go. Ah, it's a sneaky Ada. Ada, my dear, what are you doing? Ada, 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 Ada. No, Ada. Hi. Okay, that was good. Oh, you overestimated you, friend. Split the cheeks. Decisive strike. Hi, Ada. Nice. La, 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 la. How are you? I hear you. Yeah. But no matter what, the PS5 is yours. If they take the money or they don't take the money, the console's yours. Yeah. Ooh, almost. Good idea. It's so big you need to make room. Yeah, it's a little bit of a tall console, ain't it? Knocked him upside head. Oof. Sneaky little person. Damn it, Nia. Alright, let's go basement because then we have more control. Oh, dizzy. Fuck. That's right. Ooh. You got lucky. I respect that. Oh, and make sure that the back vents in the PS5 are clear. By at least a ruler length. Maybe 6 inches at bare minimum, but you want to have at least 6 inches from the very, very back where the stuff plugs in from any wall. Because, not because it'll, like, cause fires or anything, but it will get a little toasty back there, and that hot air needs to dissipate. So if you keep it clogged too close to the console, your console might face an overheat issue. That's only with PS5 games. PS4 games like generate no heat at all on it. The top and side ones don't matter too much. Obviously, you want like some air, but it's not gonna be the end of the road if it's too close to anything. Why can't I find you? There you are. Hi, Nia. You dirty little Nia. Up you go. Add. Okie dokie. Pop pop. Oh, there she is. Welcome back. I had nowhere to put her. Literally got her in a dead zone. Feels bad. That's fine, we'll bleed her out. Then have my L2 back in time. We'll abandon her because that's just too much time giving up. Nice. I don't think they have a totem up, so I don't know where they're running to. Oh, now I do. They're over in that corner. I think Otto's the one with the kit. Which if that's the case, let her bleed that one out. Prolongs the game a little, which sucks, but... No, it's Ania. Okay. Interesting. Up you go. Hmm. Yeah, there's nothing around here, but there's one right there. Oh. Not today. Mm-hmm. Nice try. I can't pick you up. Oh, there we go. GG's. Nice. GG's. Yeah, knows. RG season. Charmander. Nice. I approve. Catch 2 survivors in a bear trap while in a chase with them as a trapper. Okay. That one shouldn't be too hard, I guess. Maybe your crows might be a fun one for this, since it's a lot smaller now. Hmm. Yeah. That could be a fun one. Oily coil. Yeah, that might be a good one. Cool. If I read this correctly, we just need 2 people to step in traps. Actually, cancel. Idea. Idea, idea, idea. Idea. That's an idea. Actually, I don't have an idea because I don't think I'll be able to do it. Fudge. Um... Because I don't want the estate. The estate's going to be such a pain to do. RPD I could do. That might be fine. Because there's a couple chokes I could do on that one that I don't think they'll be able to see. Alright. Double flashlight medkit. Interesting. Oops. Hmm. Blech. Escape cake. White word. Escape cake. RPD. Let's see how many of them instantly leave. Mm. That's good. Good. Alright, so we gotta trap 2 survivors. And we actually started on a good spot for this. I do want to leave a walkway, so I don't want to go overboard on traps. That would be a bad idea. Nice one. Up you go. Yeah. I really love Tramper. Krampus? Yeah. I really love him. He's such a fun killer. I wish he had a small change to him, though. It wouldn't even be an oppressive change, it'd be one that's logical. And that's just for him to be able to have all of his traps at the start of the game. But besides that, he's fun. I enjoy him. Leave this one. And this one. Oops. Ah, I got stuck. I don't know how she hit that one. That was impressive. See if we can get him to fall for it, since he's running that way. Do it, do it, do it! Gotcha. I'll take those two back, since she obviously knows where they're at. Gotcha. Little dizzy. Reset this one. Knowing how he saw it. There's not a remote chance in hell he saw that one. My dear, how the fuck do you keep pulling that off? Welcome back, Jelly. This is sort of funny. We're not supposed to be doing this good with Trapper. Like ever. Yeah, which is sort of the funny part, because you wouldn't expect that with Trapper, especially the obvious ones. The ones that I'm actually hiding, they do a great job of avoiding. Like, legit amazing job avoiding the ones I'm hiding. Everything else, though, very questionable. It was just destined. What else can I say? It was just meant to be. Shit. Jabooned. Why? I feel like a dick, but it was worth it. And that is a very rare 4K with a Trapper running nothing meta. Well, technically Callbind, but we really didn't use it for any gen kicks. But, very fun game. GG's. And this is another tome done. Buggers. That gives us the Observer Shankdom. You gotta choose a new one. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 are all done. Got a couple more we could work on, maybe 6, I guess. Well, we might as well keep working backwards, right? So 6. Using a perk Strider. I don't know what Strider is off the top of my head. What is Strider? You know, it'd probably be easier if I just look up the damn thing instead of having to try to find it, because I don't even know what the icon is off the top of my head. Strider. What's it do? Alright, it's the breath icon. Increase the volume of survivor grunts in pain by 25, 50, 50%. Increase the volume of survivors' regular breathing by 0, 0, 25%. Okay. So we need down 6 people with it. Who do we want to play for that? Dunkers, Dunkers, Dunkers. Oh, he's almost 6. Buggers. Level 6. And now we have all the maxed out cosmetics for him. There are no other cosmetics for the mill that we could get. So nice. We're 1 pip away from Prestige 1. Part of me wants to be a little greedy. Just to see if we can pull it off and not do a gimmicky thing. Let's try this. That way I get the Oros no matter what of where the hell I go. Ouch. Oof. Let's see if we can hit Eerie 1. We do awesome sauce. If not, it's not gonna be the end of the world. I mean, we'll probably get much again no matter what, unless we like throw everything, because we still got 3 days until reset, but it'd just be fun to see if we could hit it just for the sake of hitting it. Doesn't mean anything anymore, but it's always a fun little side objective. Oh, and we wasted it. Rip. But at the same time, as soon as I don't use it, somebody would throw it in there, and it would be like one of those you have to. So, it is what it is. It is what it is, and it is what it is. Hmm. The other thing I need to do too is I need to go back and finish watching Stranger Things. I still got a few more episodes to catch up on. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, and 4 is nowhere to be found. Oh, there's 4. Alright. Nice. She's up on the hill. Interesting play. There's consequences for trades. I hate this place. Here we go. Oh, they're over here. That really fucked with my audio. I don't know if I'm a fan of that. 3 more to go. Okay. I have nothing else to say on that besides okay. Got the damn pallet already, woman. Challenge done. Where are you going? This is going pretty well. All to your sub right now. Yeah. I found interesting ways to watch it without having to spend a lot of money. So that's what I've been doing. Probably not ethical, but yeah. I just can't justify spending $15 a month for one TV show. If they drop it down to, you know, normal prices, like $5-10, sure. But I ain't spending no $15 a month for a TV show. What's funny is they're ignoring the portal. See if I get a heads up where she's at. The Fang is in the far corner. She was right next to it. I wonder how much she is going to regret that if she watches it later. You see that she was literally an inch from freedom. Normally I'd let her have the hatch, but since we're one pip off, I'm playing a little sweaty just for that one extra pip, just so we can move on to something else. But she really did do a good game, but sadly for Killer, it's one of those when you gotta sweat a little extra, get that little extra pip once you're in Eri. Hey, in the world. Like I said, it's not that even grades matter, they don't matter, but I sort of just want to hit Eri 1 just to say I have it done for the season. There you go. Eri 1. So that check box is done. I mostly do it just to get the extra blood points, because there's a big difference between 1 and 2 in points. And yeah, if you have everything maxed out, it doesn't matter, but just have that little extra slush fun, it helps. That's done. Sacrifice 6 survivors to the entity. We just did that with this one. But okay, we can do it again. And then now finish tier 1. Yeah, I love playing Devil Doggy. It's so much fun. And we didn't even really play him like you're supposed to play him. But it was fun nonetheless. Maybe a couple Pyramid Head games. It's been a while since we played Pyramid Head. So he might be fun to play around with for a little bit. Oh, well, so what I gotta do a different one. Rip. Oh yeah, I'm not on add-ons. Ha! A coin I like. Any tactical, why not? We'll just have a little bit of fun with it. Purple ward. We'll go with our standard aura reading, because why not? That's just working for us lately. See where they are at the start. That's so much handy. We don't have to spend crucial time at the moment to find them. Nowhere to hide, since they like to do the little hide behind genie thingy. And we'll go Lightborn, because we have a big cone on our head. Keep it meta. We have a Kate, a Thalita, a Kate, and a Jeff. And it's Edgy Jeff. Wow, 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 wow. Should be fun. I think he has a couple cool skins too. Minus his weapon. His weapon looks very weird. Looks like the Guild Wars 1 kind of stuff, or it looks like it's like cut out of a magazine. Which is a little bit of a shame. Ooh, the game. Or Asval's Key. Ah! Ah! Get fucked. Sacrificial ward. Get fucked. You got cucked by your own teammate. 3 of them brought offerings, the other one said no offerings. Ha ha ha. 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 That's a good start. Next one is, do we want to play Trickster, or do we want to play Pew person? Deathslinger. We could also go back to Skull Merchant and play her for a while, but yeah. Boom, bop, bop, boom, bop, bop, boom, bop, bop, boom, 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 boom. Let's see, where are they at? Uno, dos, tres. Where's Quattro? Uno, dos, tres. Un, deux, trois. 1, 2, 3. I don't see Quattro. Where's Quattro? Quattro, Catra. Oh, he was on a generator. Good to know. You can count on me like... Ah, you bitch. You bitch. Swish, swish. That's fine, we'll just take her to a hook. I was looking forward to get a little flick hit, but that's not going to happen anytime soon, so that's fine. Ah, got one. So he has that build, and once you're unhooked, the hook falls apart for 3 minutes. That's good to know. Up you go. I am a little bit annoyed that he doesn't use his weapon to break the pallets. It would be nice for him to take like the big blade and swing it down on the pallet. Ooh, you lucky bitch. Alright, so she's in a goop. That was actually funny. That was actually not intended. Two of them are running slippery meat. Interesting. Oh, in a cage. Get some quick aura readings. Ah, they got her. Ah! I saw her off my peripheral and I was trying to get a quick side hit. I'll bleed you out. There's nowhere for me to put you until the hook comes back. I got lucky, because if that would have been a full one, she would have... Never mind. Because I'll give it away the bug. Never mind. Hmm. Interesting. Where are you going, my dude? Nice dodge. Alright. Thought I heard someone there, I guess not. Left? Empty. That one's abandoned. Are they on this one? I think they're on this one. Nope. So they're getting smart. They know that that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing, so they just run off. Okay. Jumps back to full state, but he has a red status bar, which tells me that he might inconveniently disconnect. But we really can't blame him because, being honest, the game has had some PC issues lately, so... I have nowhere to put her. I'm gonna have to honestly slug him out. Unless I get freaking lucky and get them to step through that stuff so I can cage them, I'm gonna have to slug them. Which is annoying because I know they don't like it, I don't like it, but I got no hooks. Right here, if I could get her, I know if we put her down. Boom. Up on hook you go. Yo. Now we get to see if he's going to play greedy and go for the save. Or no. Play selfless, go for the save, or be greedy and wait it out. Looks like he's going to go for the save. I think I saw him haul ass this way. No, he went for it to die out. Eh. Can't really blame him. You have one hook state left. If you try to go for save, it's not going to work, so I can see it. Oof. Actually, I want to see. Can I final ride him or no? No, I can't. Okay, never mind. Thought I could. That was bad. Nice. That would have been a double pip. If there were still pips. So interesting though. Interesting. The Killertina. I like it. It was a little bit funny that one survivor decided to screw the other two over by using that. We have how much? We have time for one or two more games. Yeah, so the way Throne works out is if you click the link, there's one thing that's out of date that I need to fix. But if you click the link, you get to see anything that I like. So if I do this real quick, light capture, Dead by Daylight, so it shows you everything that I currently like. Some of it's a little pricey, some of it's not pricey. But the way it works is, let's say you want to, I don't know, fuck it. Let's say you want to give Thinny Cat head scratchies. You just add that to the cart, enter whatever message. Scratchies for kitties, and that'll be played. You then add it to cart, and then you check out. And I don't see anything in terms of your info. You don't see anything in terms of my info. It's 100% private. So it's like an Amazon wish list, except there's no information given. So I don't know your first name or last name. You don't know my first name or last name. Only that website does. And none of that is shared between us. No, it uses whatever payment you want. So credit card, Easy Pay, I think, PayPal, those kind of stuff. But it's not affiliated with Twitch. It's a third-party website. If that makes any sense. It's just easier for me to do it that way than having a Amazon wish list. If I do an Amazon wish list, then your information is shown to me, and then my information is shown to you, and that's just uncomfortable and a little awkward at times. Not that I don't trust you guys, it's just, you know, I don't like having my information out there, so yeah. But you could also do suggested stuff too. So like if you feel like suggesting a gift, you could just hit suggest, I hit accept, and then it could go that way. But there's a, like the Athena one, I need to take $100 off because it's no longer 250, it's just 150. But I'll do that afterwards. Athena, say hi. Say hi to everyone. Did you want to hop up on the desk? Say hi. Athena, say hi. You gotta say hi. You do. You gotta be a little bit more sociable. Say hi. I get kisses, thank you. Probably. What do you think? One more head scratchies? What she's doing is she's like, hey, I know it's almost 11:30, and I usually get TREATS's in like 30 minutes. So if I just sit here and be annoying, maybe you give it to me early. But if I look super cute and super adorable like I am right now, maybe you forget what the time is and you think it's midnight and I get my stuff now. Are you gonna bite my hand? Can I go back to the game? Yeah, you gonna purr? You can do some ferocious purring? Alright, so what killer should we play next? Who should we play next? I am thinking... Who do Nemesis? What do I have on Nemi? I don't remember what I have on Nemi. Maybe. Let's go. You know what? I'm feeling a little weeby. You feeling a little weeby? I'm feeling a little weeby. Let's play with a weeb. Let's pretend to be a weeb. We'll play Trickster. And can't do a Mori because we already know there's an issue with that. That's actually what I would want to get. I forgot that that was even a perk, and so I looked. And that is 4 additional blades. Okay. Let's try this out. You pretending to be a little gargoyle? Where are you? Are you gonna cosplay a little gargoyle, Thana? Oh boy, it's all fangs. We got the fangs. You got the fangs, I got the fangs, they got the fangs. That's fine. More chest scratches? Can you show your belly? You need to show your belly. Yeah? In a slapbox mood? Yeah? So we are playing on Pied Piper. Sent to Springwood. Oof. Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing? Can you give yourselves a little baze? A little baze? Like, why the hell do you call it that, human? It's baths, not baths. What the hell? Say what the deuce? Say what the deuce? You're a pretty kitty. You are. You're a pretty, pretty kitty. Alright. So this one should be fun. This one should take us... average length, maybe... time for one more? Might be cutting it short. Hmm. Oh, Tina. Oh, Tina. What you doing? Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Badoon Preschool. 1, 2. I lost her. No. No. Charlie. Oh, maybe not. There we go, in the basement. Oh, a basement. Not that we need it, but I want to get to Horus. Like right there. Hmm. There we go. Back down you go. Oof. That's two. Sprint burst, nice. the fangs upside the head. Starting to become my new favorite pastime. Okay. Another thing bites dust. Another one bites the dust. I have no clue where they might be. Found one. There's two fangs gone. Nice. GG's. Smack. Smack. No, my hatch. Oh, actually, I could have heard. Nice. Nice. Neat ice. Cool. I like that killer I do too. It's pretty fun. Enter survivor with a weapon 20 times. Well, that's sort of a dead end. So we're sort of forced to go this way. Thanatos, we could do that. Destroy gens or palace, we could do that. Close the hatch one time, we could do that. I'm not a fan that you're forced into this one though. So that means we're forced to go here and then drop down to get out that way. Which isn't the end of the world, but yeah. Big goose. Big goose. Hmm. Oh, that one's almost tier 2. We can do that real quick. $50. There we go. Prestige 2. Which means no matter what, Lightborn will be tier 2 on the ones I don't have, which should be fine. It's a moot point, but yeah. So that's handy. Anyone else relatively close on anything? Wesker, I think, is sort of close, but I don't think I really use any of his stuff. But he definitely needs a few things unlocked, so we'll do that real quick. $41. I don't know why I'm doing that. I should have went this way. me play with that a little bit more, get like all oils or something. But that'll be for tomorrow, because we are just going to wrap it up here tonight. So, thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. Because the next game will probably put us a little bit over. And, yeah, a little bit tired, a little hungry. So, hope you all have a good night's rest, a great day tomorrow. Thank you guys for everything. We are probably not going to raid. But, yeah, take care, friends. Bye.